all the stuff we're making today.
This one.
I'll put that over there. Hi, Mommy and Noah are back because we are doing 5 weeknight meal prep. Hi. I love cooking, but I don't have a lot of time to cook. Hi. So, let's talk about what our 5 meals are. So for our 5th meal, we are gonna have a go-to easy meal of a rotisserie chicken from the store. Do organic if you can. And we are gonna serve that up with some unsweetened applesauce.
This is heavy.
It is heavy. Can you put it back on the tray? Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. So, the chicken and the applesauce is going to be served with the gluten-free pasta of your choice. I would either recommend 100% brown rice pasta, or I also really like chickpea pasta. I like the chickpea because it has a little bit more protein. First is for the almond flour chicken. I have some pans ready here, and we are going to put 4 tablespoons of butter onto our pan. So we have the oven on 400 with the 4 tablespoons of melted butter in there, and we're just gonna let the butter melt. And while we are doing that, we are going to get our breading going for the chicken, and putting the breading in a big Ziploc bag is gonna make this meal prep so quick, and cleanup is gonna be a little easier. So we have a cup of almond flour in there, a teaspoon of paprika, half teaspoon of salt, and a half teaspoon of pepper. I'm also gonna get our pork for the sweet potato barbecue pulled pork going, and we're just actually gonna put that in a crock pot because that's gonna get it really nice and shredded, and it's gonna kind of alleviate some space in the oven or on the stove. And with our pork in the crock pot, we're gonna put just whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. I definitely would recommend one that is refined sugar-free, one sweetened with honey, one sweetened with dates. So we are just gonna dump that on our pork here and just cook that till it's done, either on high, low, whatever works for you and in your meal prep time. So I also just got a couple of our burners on our stove going with pots filled with hot water. And so we're gonna get those up to boiling, and we'll be able to cook some of our sides. Perfect, our butter is melted. So we're just gonna coat our pan. Do you need some tongs? So I'm gonna take our chicken, and I have chicken thighs here that I cut up into little chicken tender strips. I have about 1 pound here. For a cup of almond flour, you're gonna want 1 pound of the chicken. And we're gonna shake, 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 shake. Get all the chicken coated. Are you eating your popcorn with the tongs? Yeah, get it all coated. What are you doing? So now we are going to get our chicken onto the pan. We are just gonna lay the strips Okay.
Oh, whoa. Oh, boy. Listen.
Maybe I should move the chicken.
Dump it.
Okay, so we're gonna continue to get our chicken flat on this hot buttery pan here. And how these are gonna be cooked is at 400 degrees for 10 minutes on one side. Then we're gonna flip them. Yeah, and cook them another 10 minutes. And they'll be done, and they'll be nice and buttery and crispy without actually being technically fried. And I don't like to lose the rest of the breading. Okay, we are gonna get our chicken into the oven here.
Here.
We are also at the same time going to cook our ribeye steaks.
I love these steaks. No. Go.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna get our sweet potatoes and potatoes prepped. These can be cooked however is easiest for you. I really have gotten used to poking a fork into each potato and sweet potato about 5 times and just setting them on some baking sheets and letting them go for a little over an hour. I really like that method because usually the skins peel off really easy, and then it's less time that you having to watch the actual cooking process, even though it technically takes longer.
Butter.
There's butter on your head. We are gonna bake these, and then for those that, yeah, you're gonna eat it. For those for the stuffed baked sweet potatoes, we'll just cut a huge slit in those, and then for any of our mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes, we will put those in the blender. All right, so in the middle of poking holes in our potatoes and sweet potatoes, I hear our water boiling in the back, so I'm gonna get our noodles and one of our vegetable sides in there. We'll do our cauliflower here.
Messy.
Yeah, you're making it messy. Why are you putting blueberry on the sweet potato? Oh, you think the potatoes should go over there? Why are the potatoes going over there?
Ew.
All right, so we have 2 pans of potatoes and sweet potatoes, and that is gonna make a side of mashed potatoes, a side of sweet potatoes, and some baked sweet potatoes. So that's 3 starchy sides on 2 trays. We are gonna get our noodles and our first veggie side off the stove. And now that I have both of those off the stove, I'm gonna fill the pots back up with water and get more on there. So the timer for the first side of the chicken went off, and so we are going to quickly flip these. All right, so now that these are flipped, they're going back in the oven for 10 more minutes. These look so good and buttery and delicious. For our noodles, we are gonna put our noodles into a glass dish, and we are gonna cover them with either avocado oil or some olive oil, just so they don't stick together.
Bubble.
So we have our steaks coming out of the oven.
Bubble.
I like to cook mine about medium rare, and these are just gonna cool until we can store them in the refrigerator. Our water is boiling again, so we're gonna get the last of our vegetables into the pots of water. Okay, for our taco nacho night, it's whichever way you prefer. So for the nachos, our favorite brand of chips is the Siete brand.
Spicy.
Yeah, and we have the spicy kind here, which is the nacho kind. So you can either have sea salt or nacho. They also have a lime flavor. And these bags are open because my family loves these chips. And for tortillas, also the Siete brand has a cassava and coconut tortilla or the almond flour tortilla. These are good gluten-free choices.
Legal.
And I also really like these sprouted corn tortillas. And some of this prep for your nacho night or tortilla night is going to happen on the night of. But what I really like about both of these choices is that you can have your kids make their own. Let's talk about the toppings you may want. You may want to cut up some tomatoes, jalapenos, or some other vegetables. And you're also probably going to want some corn. You can do frozen, fresh, canned for your kids. And then some beans. The best way would be to sprout the beans overnight and cook them, but that is very time consuming, so you can also just get organic canned black beans as well. You'll want some shredded cheese as well for your tacos or nachos. I really like to get a raw grass-fed cheese, and we'll shred this up.
Bubble. Flour.
Yeah! So to make this an extra quick night for your nacho or taco night, I would make little bags for your smoothies so that you can just dump everything in and get everyone's ready. So our chicken came out of the oven, and I put the 2 pans of potatoes and sweet potatoes in the oven for a little over an hour to cook. And I'm getting our smoothie bags together. I'll get a banana and typically some berries, about a ½ cup, and then get your protein powder of choice. I really like collagen protein. And then you'll be able to dump this into the blender with some milk or water and easily make your smoothies that day. So I'm gonna make these up and just pop them in my freezer. So for our first meal, the barbecue pork filled sweet potatoes, we have the pork cooking in the crock pot, we have the sweet potatoes in the oven, and we have the cauliflower cooked up. For our second meal, Taco Tuesday, we have some corn and beans ready to go. We have our chips or our tortillas, and we have shredded cheese. For our third meal, the almond flour chicken is cooked up, the sweet potatoes are cooking up, and the carrots are cooking. For the steak and potatoes, the potatoes are cooking, the broccoli is cooked up, and the steaks are cooked. For our rotisserie chicken with noodles and applesauce, the applesauce just came from the store, just make sure it's unsweetened. The noodles are ready to go, and the rotisserie chicken was from the store as well. So if I can do this with a toddler, you can definitely do it. I wish you the best of luck making meals for your family. We're gonna go play with traps.